I am a hopeless dreamer.
An imaginer. A seeker of
possibilities.
I was born.
He was born to question the world.
To question everything that ever is.
Or was.
Or will ever be.
What if?
What if?
That is the question.
What if we could?
What if we can do this? What if we?
What if we could do that?
What if?
What if?
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
How come?
I will never stop
Dreaming of that
which is better.
I have dreamed and imagined
And questioned everything.
for 300 years.
I will always dream.
I will always dream.
I will always dream.
Always.
Always. Always.
Always dream.
What we really have to understand is that there are two Bostons. There's the Boston we all learned of as kids, the Boston of Paul Revere, one if by land and two if by sea, old Ironsides. But then there's the other Boston, the Boston we live in today, and that's a very different place. It mingles the past and the present in everything it does, in the innovations that we see in technology, in medicine, in education, in biotech, in artificial intelligence, in computers. You look down at your feet, and those same cobblestones were probably walked on by John Adams or Daniel Webster. Then you look up, and you see the Zakim Bridge, the widest suspension bridge in the world. In many ways, the same revolutionary spirit that caused the farmers to band together and form the revolution and make America is still present in the state of Massachusetts.
I've been in Boston since the late 1960s. We were going through a time in Boston of all this racial disparity, I call it. Boston today has become a very diverse city. It's an integration of all cultures. Out of many one people, we can be different cultures, but when we get together, we are only one set of people.
For me, going to Boston Public Schools is great. My teachers always had high expectations for me. It prepared me really well for college.
You want to challenge every student that comes into this high school. We developed several academies and an exam school. It's allowed children to select an area that they'd like to study in. We have a fine arts academy that's now considered one of the best in the state. U.S. News World Report named this as one of 50 outstanding urban high schools in the country.
We've always gotten a lot of work, a lot of tests. We were just trained for that college environment.
It's important to exist in the world today, not in the world that you read about in the history books.
Next year, I'll be attending the University of Connecticut. My best friend's going to Columbia. Some of my friends are going to Harvard. A lot of Ivy League schools from my class.
We feel that we've been able to offer the children here a great education, a worthwhile education, and hopefully a great future.
Ten years ago, crime was identified as the #1 problem here in the city. And at that time, we decided to do things a little differently in policing. Community policing was the strategy that we employed to reduce crime here in the city. The basis of community policing is the cop on the beat, out of the police cruiser, meeting people and talking to people. The bad guys recognized that there was a different strategy in place. They couldn't get away with the small crimes, and they started to leave the area as a result of that. That's when we started to make a difference here. We didn't invent community policing, but in cities like Lowell and Boston, we've been able to perfect the tenets of community policing. We have worked very closely with police departments across the country in training them in our successful tactics. It's about problem solving, it's about partnership, it's about prevention. It's about making the community safe and making the people feel safe in the community. And that's what my police officers are doing out there.
This is the famous Ether Dome at Massachusetts General Hospital, and it was here in 1846 that the first operation under anesthesia was performed. There has been a lot of evolution and change in the field of medicine, and much of it has come out of the research labs at the universities and at the hospitals here. The first transplant was done in Boston. We're trying to develop artificial organs. There's remarkable cancer research going on. What's going on in Boston right now is really also dramatically going to change the way the future of the world progresses. The way in which medicine medicine is dispensed and illnesses are treated in 20 years is going to be very different than the way it is now. We're going to basically be looking at what we're all made of and understanding it in a much more profound way than we ever have before.
Boston is Springfield, Boston is New Bedford, Boston is Lowell. You go away from here and you talk to people from other parts of the country, and they say where you're from, and if you're from Longmeadow, Massachusetts, you say Boston. The Boston that I like best, I love odd little things about it. They're not so odd. I like the fish pier. I like the swan boats. Thank God I had children. I got to ride around the swan boats without looking like an idiot. Fenway Park, obviously. Not simply to watch the ball game, but to be in that space. There aren't many spaces like it left, and it is charming. People come here to college, not simply because we have a huge number of first-rate schools, but because they are all located with easy access to a first-rate city. It is every day a serendipitous delight to go out and walk around in it.
Boston's my home. I love to come home to Boston. Fly into Logan, get chewed out by that old guy who works at the cab stand, who tells me to get in back of the line. You're not a star here. I've actually got one piece of advice that you people from other parts of the country could really use. So listen up, this is good advice. While you're here in Boston, if your car breaks down, if you get lost in the Big Dig, if you get in any trouble at all, just start yelling, "Yankees suck," and people will come running to help you. I promise.
Hello, I'm Boston Mayor Tom Menino. I'm here in historic Faneuil Hall. It's a pleasure to personally welcome you to Boston, the 2004 Democratic National Convention. Boston is a wonderful city, always dreaming, always asking questions. What if? What about? Why not? How come? Just like Democrats. As I hope you'll discover during the convention, Boston is a city that's always looking for the next new thing, something better, that one thing that can change the whole world forever. Just like Democrats. One thing is for certain, if our party is going to win in November, if we're going to get America back to where she belongs, respected and revered throughout the world, we're going to need those qualities of imagination and vision as we have never needed them before. So, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Boston.